trucks come to life at Martinsville Speedway for the 20th of 24 rounds of racing in the Nascar Craftsman Truck Series, and the points championship still to be decided between three of the top gladiators of the series, Ron Hornaday, Mike Skinner, and Jack Sprague. But look at positions 4 through 10. 144 points separate those 6 spots, and literally one bad race could send you from 4th all the way to 10th. Hello, everybody. I'm Marty Reed. We'll be patrolling pit lane all day, and this is the man who's in the driver's seat, Ron Hornaday. He has a 152-point lead over his 2 top contenders. He's going to start 7th on today's grid. Now, you may say that's a bad spot. Well, it's a lot better than these 2 competitors in the championship race. Jack Sprague is in the 10th spot. He's coming off a 2nd-place finish in the last race at Mount, and you've got to go all the way back to 16th on the starting grid to catch up with Mike Skinner. He's 152 points behind, and he needs a big performance. He's coming off his only DNF of the year, and that was at Loudon. Now, you remember last year at this racetrack? Anything can happen, and if you missed it, we're about to give you a refresher course, because that man, Mike Skinner, was involved.
Bodine's got to be thinking, what's Hornaday going to do? Oh, there he comes along. Nice contact. Bodine spins.
And they both spin, and here comes
Skinner kept it. Ruttman took it by on the bottom. Is Ruttman going to win the race? He'll take the white flag. Skinner didn't come clear around. Managed to keep it straight enough to continue. Bodine has cut it turn 4, and it looks like Ruttman's going to win the race. Wow.
Yes, and because it's a Winston Cup weekend as well, there are 3 Winston Cup drivers in this field. In fact, you've got to go to the front row to find 2 of them. For more on that, let's go topside. Here's Dave Despain.
Number 48, the STP Chevy, and only a 2nd appearance. Bobby Hamilton with his first ever truck starts on the pole, sweeps qualifying for the weekend. He'll also be up front tomorrow for the Winston Cup race. And alongside the 11-time Martinsville Winston Cup winner, Darrell Waltrip. But the title contenders are not the only ones who will come through the field. In Final Tech, Waltrip was discovered to have illegal fuel in the truck. He'll pay a $2,500 fine and start last. We always have a lot of fun in the booth. Hello, everybody. I'm Dave Despain. We welcome you to Martinsville Speedway and the Nascar Craftsman Truck Series, the Haynes 250. Benny Parsons and I always have a ball in the booth, but today it's going to be extra fun because joining us up here is Kyle Petty, the driver of the Coors Light Pontiac. I think I can safely assume I won't get another word in edgewise.
Yeah, and once again, qualifying proves that experience we talk about all the time in college, it's even important on a small racetrack like Martinsville.
I tell you, it's critical on a small racetrack. When you start talking about the field we have here of 36, 40 cars, whatever, or trucks, excuse me, whatever it may be, then you're talking there's only a half second to separate them. Bobby Hamilton ran like a 20.56. There's a lot of 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s right in there. The last place truck run a 21.14. Half second on a half-mile track. Experience pays off to get you in here because there's a lot of guys that went home trying to qualify.
That's right. 36 trucks, 44 were here trying to qualify on Friday. Next week at North Wilkesboro, 57 trucks there, Dave.
Well, take a look at the starting lineup as the field forms up here. And again, DW having to drop to the back. It'll be Hamilton and Waltrip qualifying on the front row, but Darrell goes backwards. Then it's the Dodges of Bickle and Hensley in row 2. The youngster Nathan Butke starting 5th. There's Hornaday in his 7th qualifying spot, to which Marty alluded. And there is Sprague behind him. Now, that 8th starting truck is Kelly Denton, the newcomer to the series, with a great qualifying run here today. Michael Dokken gets a great opportunity as he jumps into the 18 truck. Take you on back further through the field. Starting in 16th is Mike Skinner, the series point leader. There's Jeff Burton, number 19. Further back at the tail end of the field, you see the provisionals went to Walker Evans, along with that number 65 truck of Kenny Allen, and Ronnie Newman, who gets the last of the provisional spots. Let's jump on board with Mike Bliss and start previewing the onboard views that you'll have. This is the view from Bickle's truck starting in row 2. Reffner didn't have a great qualifying run, as he'll be near the back, and we're just about to drop the rag and go to war in the Haynes 250. Hamilton uses the pole effectively to hold the lead down the backstretch.
Jimmy Henson told me he wanted to start on the outside. Jeffrey thought he was nuts, but he made it work.
Hensley up into that second spot. You're riding with Bliss, who did not have a great qualifying effort. He's right behind Jack Sprague as Sprague goes beaten here with Curtis Markham. Sprague down on the inside.
That's Curtis Markham's first ride in the 10 truck, the Visa truck. Back to the lead. Bobby Hamilton. First time in the truck.
First time since 1992 that anybody has swept qualifying on Winston Cup weekend. To sit on the pole for both the so-called support race on Saturday, be it Busch or trucks or whatever, and for the Cup race.
There's Michael Dockin. That's Dockin in the 18, not his familiar 64. And on the outside is Randy Renfro in the 41.
Well, that's for 11th spot, and Dockin, the significance of this is that he's driving Kurt Rohrig's truck this weekend, a yellow truck. The paint is similar to what you've seen in the past. That is a different truck. It's a good truck, and a great opportunity here for Dockin, who's been kind of struggling along on his own nickel all year, but now gets a chance to drive one of the best trucks in the series. Staying on top of the pole sitter and early leader, but not able to make any kind of a move yet. And Hamilton hangs on to the lead.
This is right in the top. Rich Nichols, Cummins, Dodge.
I said I wasn't going to get a word in edgewise. I think there are two words that we ought to talk about, guys: fenders and brakes. Is there any way to get through 250 laps here with both of them intact and working?
No, I tell you what, I don't think so. You know, it's going to be a little bit easier on the brakes because it is only 250 laps. But I tell you what, fenders and grills and bumpers and everything else, there's not going to be a car that leaves here or a truck that leaves here without being beat up and scratched. And, you know, that's just the way it is. That's Martinsville. That's short track racing, and that's short track NASCAR racing.
If you're worried about bending it, this is a bad place to bring it. This is Martinsville Speedway. The trucks are at it in the Haynes 250. We'll take a quick break and come back with more. Speed World coverage of the Haynes 250 coming to you from Martinsville, Virginia. It's the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And it's brought to you here on ESPN by the NASCAR Story. To order, call 800-71-NASCAR. By Daytona USA, the ultimate motorsports attraction. And by Quaker State, the motor oil that exceeds the highest standards for engine protection. No change up front. Hamilton still sitting out in the top spot. There has been a change at the tail end of that top five. Note the number 16 of Ron Hornaday, the point leader, has moved into fifth spot, up from his starting position of 7.
And let's get Nathan Butke a call back in fourth spot, the blue and white number 75. He lives down where you grew up, around Randleman, Kyle.
Yeah, just right through the woods over there. He's been running some Busch stuff. He ran some Busch stuff last year. He's run some late model stuff, stock stuff down at Caraway. And he got the nod to drive this truck, I guess, about a month and a half ago, and had some pretty impressive runs in it.
Pretty good battle going on here. That number 4 truck is Wayne Grubb. Remember the two young Grubb brothers that we saw at Richmond? He's got a pretty good battle going on here with Charlie Cragen, the 3-time Winston Racing Series champion from up in Pennsylvania.
Brian Redford, 44, that's Ernie Irvin's truck. Joe Rudman driving that truck, won the race here, as you saw just a moment ago. It was number 84 last year.
Redford didn't have much of a qualifying run here. He started 26th. Mike Skinner, an uncharacteristic 16th starting spot for the defending champion in the series. And that was a result of him not getting much practice time because they had a little trouble getting that truck through tech inspection.
Yeah, they checked the camber in the rear ends, and they had a problem getting the thing right. Now we got some trouble down in turn 1. We've got Bob Bree back in the 31, spun around. That's Lance Norick in 90.
That's Ronnie Newman and the black truck up here at the top.
And Walker Evans in 20. So 4 trucks involved.
And that's pretty typical of this joint, too, guys. When you do get rubbing fenders and somebody goes around, typically a lot of guys find themselves with nowhere to go. 17 laps into it when the caution flies for the first time. The top 5 had jockeyed themselves into position. It appeared to do some business, but there were no position changes. Here's Ronnie Newman from Roanoke, Virginia, the checkered flag parts Ford.
There's Lance
Norrick's truck. Doesn't look like anybody hit anything very hard. See if we can get another look at it here and figure out how this all developed.
Well, I don't know how in the world all that stuff started. We see
Brevac and Norick maybe got together first.
Well, this is on down in the corner. There's a lot of dirt going in the corner in the middle of the racetrack, so evidently someone got in the grass going in the corner.
That's the first truck race, by the way, for Ronnie Newman. He is one of 4 drivers making his first start here today. They include Hamilton, the pole sitter, the Denton kid, to whom we referred earlier, Curtis Markham, and Newman, who has spun it here on lap 17 as part of the first caution of the day. We'll take a break and come back with more. Pretty day at Martinsville. Pretty place to go racing. We're back at Martinsville, Virginia. Dave Mustaine, Kyle Petty, and Benny Parsons with the Haynes 250. A quick look at the onboard of Lance Norick will perhaps give us a better clue of what happened here in turn 1 to bring out the yellow.
Down in turn 1, he tries to get alongside Brevac, and watch as Brevac comes down. Norick goes through the grass, but still makes some contact with Brevac. Both those trucks spin, and other trucks started spinning behind him to avoid. We apologize for the pictures, but our helicopter had to come down, and so that was the reason our picture broke up there at the end.
When you have a mechanical problem with the helicopter, it's very simple. You land. There is no question about what you do in that case. So we're out of onboards for the moment. We're back to green with Hamilton getting the jump on the field. And as they head down into turn number 1, we see the battle among that first 5 shaping up. Pretty much more today on the move on the bottom. Man, he's good at restart.
He is great at restart, and there's a battle for the lead. Jimmy Hensley, local boy, on the inside, the Dodge and the Chevy on the outside.
Hensley knows his way around this joint. He's got the fans on their feet. Can Hamilton hold him off?
Tell you what, Hamilton's doing pretty good on the outside, isn't he, Kyle?
Doing a great job on the outside. Hensley's truck really works good on the inside. Hensley just seems to be a little bit down on power as he comes up out of the corner. And right now on cold tires, Hamilton's just able to power away from him a little bit.
Wow. Jimmy worked on that STP logo there just a little bit, though, didn't he? That's typical short track racing.
That's all right. That's the whole point of running short tracks. You make it so you can't read the sponsors.
On the Dodges that have come from the second row now run second and third as Hensley moved up there and took a shot. There's Walker Evans further back in the field in another of the Dodges as he does battle.
He was one of the trucks that spun down in turn 1. There's last year's champion, Mike Skinner, in the 3 truck, the Goodwrench truck, trying to weave his way through. Someone said this was Skinner's worst qualifying of 1996.
Skinner needs to be real careful here until this deal sorts out, I would think, and not get himself in any kind of dilemma here. A bad qualifying effort backed up with a couple of bad race finishes, and he's playing catch up for this championship.
And we can see how far he's got to go to get to the front. As Butch Miller gets on the inside of Curtis Markham, that's Butch Miller behind Walker Evans. Jack Sprague.
Sprague currently sitting in 8th spot as you take a look at the field summary and look for your favorite driver. In these battles for position early in the race, Kyle, how aggressive do you need to be and how defensive do you need to be? I mean, do you have to start battling the guy alongside right from the get-go, or can you wait?
Now, from the get-go, you've got to battle whoever you're racing with, because the whole point is to be like Bobby Hamilton and like Jimmy Hensley. Be out there and be able to run on a clean racetrack and run your own race. These guys, right here in this pack with Skinner and this crowd, they're using their brakes, they're using their equipment, they're on the brakes, they're on the gas, they're really being rough on stuff. So even when they get a good, clean racetrack, they've already used up their tires and stuff. So they're going to be tough to play catch-up from here.
The Black 3 currently sits in 12th spot, up from the 16th in which he qualified. So he's going the right direction. Skinner with a lot of catching up to do. Trouble on the front straightaway just momentarily. It didn't develop into anything, but Walker Evans got all tangled up in traffic and now hits the grass apron down on the inside going into 1 and just about lost it again.
I'm going to tell you something. It's tough to be a lap car at Martinsville and get out of everybody's way. I don't care how good a race car driver you are. It's just tough because the bottom groove is the groove you want to run, and that's where everybody's trying to get.
Evans, of course, is already far downfield as a result of that spin up in turn 1. Now we've got trouble for T.J. Clark. He's hit something out there. Scratched the right front on that one.
He dented it. He didn't scratch it. He dented it. Look at the right front fender, almost all gone. There's got to be a piece of metal in on the racetrack someplace. There's John Nemechek in the 8 truck right behind. Now I guess the fender's dragging the racetrack.
T.J.'s not the least bit worried about that, by the way.
Nascar's going to be worried about it. I'm sure they'll black flag if he can. As a matter of no, he was not black flagged that time. Meanwhile, Nemechek tries to get on the inside.
Was apparent in the shot from the outside of the truck, and it's flopping around a pretty good bit. You'll see it here as he comes off 4. And he will be black flagged to remove that potential piece of debris on the racetrack.
Oh, there goes Hornaday on the inside of Butke. And comes off the corner. Takes that spot away.
He has the largest point lead at this point in the history of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Hornaday has moved to 4th, and we got a spin. Newman has looped it again up in turn 3, between turn 3 and turn 4, and the yellow will fly for the second time today. Hornaday's lead, 152 points. Nobody in the brief history of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series has held that big a point lead, and that is largely a function of bad luck for Jack Sprague, championship contender in the last couple of races. So Newman has spun for the second time. Ronnie Newman of Roanoke, Virginia, about an hour up the road, is finding Martinsville a less than hospitable place here today. We'll seize that opportunity to slip in a commercial and come back with more of the Haynes 250. This track fact is brought to you by Quaker State, the motor oil that exceeds the highest standards in engine protection.
You heard Dave Despain mention the fact that brakes would be one of the keys to today's race at Martinsville. Well, this is the 1-inch pad that has to last 250 laps. Now you're saying, wait a minute, Craftsman Truck Series has a mid-brake, 10 minutes at least. They could easily change pads. Well, unlike like an IMSA Series car where they're made for endurance racing and easy, quick brake changes, if you'll notice, this system is a lot more complicated. In fact, we talked to some of the teams. They said they would have to take down the ductwork and also probably remove one of the shocks to be able to get in to change the brake pads. Then throw in the fact that you got to reach in there and it's 1,500 degrees, and you can understand why the crew wants these guys to baby the brakes and make it all 250 laps here at the Haynes 250.
Meanwhile, Kyle Petty making the point that the race distance has a great deal to do with the wear and tear on the brakes. But I'll tell you what, guys, for 500 laps tomorrow on ESPN, they're going to need all the brakes they get. They wish they'd had a pickup truck bed full of them by the time the day is over. Getting set for the restart here. No change up front. Hamilton continues to lead. The real aggressor thus far has been Hornaday. Has moved up to 6th. The other guy is Skinner, who's come from 16th to run 12th. There's Mike Skinner, last year's champion, and this year's point leader briefly. But after a bad start in the opening race of the campaign down at Homestead, he had to play catch-up. Once he finally got to the lead, he had more bad luck and has not been able to hang on to it, and thus that 152-point margin that we mentioned. In fact, it is Hornaday over Skinner with Sprague another 24 or so back as we get set to drop the green and get back at it.
And here goes Hensley. What a great start he got.
He saw the opportunity and jumped inside the pole sitter, and now Hamilton has his most serious challenge of the day. Hensley will bust her off into turn 3.
But look at Hamilton run on the outside, and they're sideways. Hensley to make contact. And Hamilton once again is going to retain the lead from the outside.
Beckles sitting there saying, go ahead, boys. Go ahead. Take each other out.
Kyle, I mean, I am impressed with that 48 truck on the outside.
That 48 truck has got a motor in it. I'm going to tell you, because he goes in on the outside, he stops in the middle of the corner, and he powers away from him down the straightaway. The Dodgers have worked really, really hard this year to get their motor program up and running, and obviously they've done really good. They're running 2nd and 3rd right here, right now. But they're still a little bit off of what the GM stuff is and what the Ford stuff is.
There's Skinner trying to get on the inside of Rutland. He's on the inside. That's Randy Renfro right directly in front. Dave Resendez in the 7th.
Well, from 13th at stake here, Rutland came from 25th. So the unsponsored Jack Rouse number 80 is obviously a very good truck, and he races Skinner fender to fender. Another piece that's working pretty well on the outside right there. Now Skinner looks like he'll be able to go on, and Rutland says, I'll take that spot right in front of you, Dave. Skinner advances to 12th. A long way from where he needs to be because Hornaday is sitting there in 4th spot working on the back of Rich Bickle.
There's Jeff Burton in the X side, number 99. Trying to get on the outside. He is on the outside trying to go by Dave Resendez in the QVC Ford. He's able to do that. So Jeff Burton has a great truck.
Burton started 19th up to 14th. difficult to overemphasize the extent to which this racetrack is shaped like a paperclip. Big, long straightaways, and then hard on the brakes and into that tight corner. And Rutland's not done with Skinner yet.
Doesn't seem to be. He's trying to get back on the inside. Some contact. Meanwhile, there's a battle for third place between Bickle and the 43-16 of Hornaday.
Hornaday to third.
And
wow.
Jack Sprague, the 24 truck, he's caught him. He's there. And he's on the inside of Butke.
So Jack Sprague, victim of bad luck at Richmond, got together with Hornaday. Hornaday slid up into him, bent the sheet metal in on the left front tire. 3 laps later, it blew. And he was, what, 29th for the night? Out of championship contention. Now he's back. And following Hornaday toward the front, he completes the pass on Butke. And number 24 is up to 5th spot. Jack Sprague on the move.
We see that Butch Miller in the Rebecca's Ford has followed Sprague. I tell you, who all these caution flags has been a break for. If Darrell Waltrip has anything, we said he's an 11-time winner here. He had to start dead last. As he passes these trucks, it's going to help. Let's see how many games. There he is. Darrell Waltrip right now is up to 19th spot. So he's picked up 17 so far.
Cat knows his way around this racetrack.
And he's got 204 laps to do it.
Remember the halftime break. At lap 126, they'll stop for 10 minutes, service the truck, work on the chassis, change the tires, tune them up, and get them ship shape for the second half of the Haynes 250, which will be the first race run at this distance, 250 laps on a half mile. Last year was a 150-lap race, which you may recall was rained out. It was supposed to be the return of Ernie Irvin, but didn't happen. Ernie made his comeback a week later at North Wilkesboro.
Get on the inside of Dockin.
This is 9th, 10th, 11th. Meanwhile, further up front, this is for 6th. Butke on the outside. Butch Miller has the better of him for the moment. Butch looking for a ride for next year. He'll be out of that Ray Vestas truck. Length as Miller continues to march toward the front. Scrambles for position, but the guy on the move is number 16, Ron Hornaday Jr. from 7th qualifying spot has climbed to 2nd. We've got a truck in the wall. That would be the number 55 of Kevin Grubb. It looks like he may have slapped her pretty good. The yellow will come out again. The Grubb brothers. This is the younger of the two. Kevin is 18 years old and finished 18th at Richmond, where these guys qualified up a storm and both actually ran pretty well until they ran into trouble. Grubb has brought out the third caution of the day, lap 51 of 250. We'll take a break and come back with more from Martinsville. We're at Martinsville Speedway in Martinsville, Virginia, where we're under caution because Kevin Grubb clobbered the wall pretty well up between 3 and 4. They needed 2 wreckers to get that baby out of there. Let's get a look at how this all started.
Well, they come off the corner. There they are in the middle of backstretch. They made some contact going in turn 1. Clark moves over to take the inside away, and Grubb says, I'm going to pass that car. What happened, Kyle?
He just gets in way too hot, man. There's no way he's going to low that thing down. You can see the tires are spinning already. And when he hits like that, and like you said before, when the rear end comes up out of the air like that, he's hit a ton. And you saw when we came back, they were hauling it off with 2 records.
Meanwhile, and in fact almost simultaneously, watch the blue number 16 of Ron Hornaday looking to the bottom, sees his victim, and says, I got Jimmy Hensley covered.
Well, I think Hensley looked up and saw the 16 and realized he was faster than he was and said, okay. I think that looked like he motioned him to go by, didn't he, Kyle?
Yeah, and you saw Hensley gave him plenty of room, so he may have just motioned him to go by. Saw that he had run him down from a half straightaway behind. And that's what you do here at Martinsville. There's no need to race a guy and use up all your equipment when somebody's faster than you are.
Let's go down to Marty and get more on that Grubb incident. Marty?
Yeah, we've got Kevin down here, very disappointed right now. What happened out there? Take us through it.
Well, we started a race, and I knew something was wrong because the truck was real tight. And so then when we got one of the cars, we came in and changed the right front because it was low. And we went back out and called the guys from the straightaway, and then, some of them wanted to race me pretty hard and block me, but I got up on the outside of one of them, just went in the corner a little too hard, and just got in the loose stuff, and, that's just something I got to learn and just come back and try it again.
Guys, a tough learning experience for Kevin Grubb.
It's hard to get those words out, but he got them out. I got in there a little too hard. That was the bottom line. We'll take a break and come back with more. Having fun at Martinsville on a Saturday afternoon. We're back at Martinsville, where Ron Hornaday has systematically marched to within one truck length of the front of the field. Bobby Hamilton, the pole sitter, will now try to hold him off as we go back to Grand.
And I'm telling you, that Hornaday is a magician on restarts. And meanwhile, Bickle's got a contender on the inside. That's a slower car of Newman. And there goes some contact between the 3 of Skinner and the 80 of Rutland.
That's a battle that's been going on for a while, and then there has been previous contact in that contest, which is for 12 spots. Skinner's now moving forward very quickly. You saw Hornaday do the little juke and fake and dive. He wasn't able to capitalize on it, but he'll try you every time on a restart.
Randy Renfro in the 41 truck. Mike Bliss. There is Bliss in the 2. The 18 of that's Michael Dawkins.
Kyle, you picked up some radio traffic on that 2 truck. What was Dodson talking about?
I think they're having some trouble with their truck running a little bit hot. And I think that's what Bliss was saying, that the temperature had gone up on it. And Perry was telling him, hey, it's not going to get any hotter than where it's at right now. We'll fix it during the halftime break. So, that's basically they were just chatting about who was holding them up and who wasn't. So it was pretty interesting.
He's got a fair bit of damage on the left rear, the number 2 truck does. He got clouded by Dawkins early in the race, and Dawkins is still behind him. Newman, who has spun twice, working to the inside of Jeff Burton. Jeff has reason to be nervous.
Harry Gant, the 33. And the 7 of Dave Resendez. But Harry's going to be behind the 71 truck. Going to be Prongs and Corelli's trying to get the position. Harry said, come on, 71, move over, move over. It ain't going to happen, Harry. It ain't going to happen.
Meanwhile, check behind them. There is Darrell Waltrip in the 5. No, not the 17. He's in the 5. The 17, of course, is occupied by his other driver, his full-time truck driver, Bill Sedgwick. So they're nose to tail now. And they move up to 18th and 19th spot. Well, in Darrell's case, it's moving up. In Sedgwick's case, it's not so much. Sedgwick started 20th, but Waltrip was on the outside pole, had to go to the back because of illegal fuel of the number 5 truck. Now they're getting this thing all sorted out now as Newman finds a place to run back behind Darrell, and Nemechek will set his sights on him. Waltrip, truly one of the all-time great short track racers in the stock car ranks. 11 victories here, and something approaching that at North Wilkes, where we're going next weekend. You can see they're basically a half lap down to the leader, Bobby Hamilton. They use that big, strong motor that Kyle talked about to drive away from Hornaday. The race is for 3rd, and it's between the Dodges.
Jimmy Hensley in the 30 Dodge. Rich Bickle in the 43. Sprague. Butch Miller. Aha, we fixed our helicopter.
Helicopter flying again.
Onboard cameras.
They're on with Bickle. Meanwhile, to the inside of Renfro, here goes Skinner. Docking in front of him and Rutman behind. Skinner's not used to running this much traffic, boys. He's usually out front.
Tell you what, that Renfro is definitely not afraid to try it on the outside. Looking back from Mike Bliss's view, as he's on the inside of Curtis Markham. Meanwhile, battle for 4th spot between Sprague and Bickle.
Sprague putting pressure on. He wants to be up there racing with Hornaday. He needs to reel Ron in the championship points. He trails by 152.
Here he comes. There he goes.
He's going to move that Dodge right on out of the way. And again, Bickle doesn't, well, I'm not going to say Bickle doesn't seem to be testing it too vociferously. So up to 3rd goes Sprague.
4th.
The 4th, right.
And we see that Butch Miller's able to get by Rich Bickle as well.
Bickle's getting in plenty deep.
The Dodgers seem to need a pretty clear racetrack to run their line. It's almost like when you qualify here with a 600 gear or 614 and then you race the 620 because you got to get up off the corner. The GM trucks are really just blasting up off the corner, and they're using these Dodgers up right now.
Miller's got a notion here to just follow Sprague to the front, or maybe to put Sprague away right now as he comes off 4 and
hey, check this. Renfro has passed those trucks on the outside. He's gone by Dockett on the outside. Now he goes by the 10 of Curtis Markham on the outside. And he's left Skinner 2 or 3 truck lengths behind him.
Now, what makes a truck work like that? What does he do to the truck to make it work a full truck width off the normal groove?
Remember, Renfro's the guy that was 3 deep at Richmond. Remember that truck on the outside? That was Renfro. He loves the outside.
I don't think Renfro's ever been to Martinsville. I don't think he knows you're not supposed to be running out there. I think that's what it takes. Most everybody that's been to Martinsville, they're trying to get down on that yellow curve as close as they can. This must be his first rodeo.
Okay, a great way to go fast is not know you're supposed to go slow, right?
Exactly.
That's why we brought you up here today.
He's making it work. The only people that I've ever, I've come here and I've seen late model stock races and Winston Cup races. Modifieds are the only cars that really ever work on the outside. They can make it work too wide. But he's got something in that truck, and he's not afraid to go in on the outside and hook it up and get on the gas.
Well, he chucked some pretty big ears there as he goes into uncontested control of 9th spot. We go back up to pick the battle among the leaders as we watch the number 30 of Jimmy Hensley trying to hold off Sprague, and now Miller, who was up alongside Sprague for just a split second and then backed out of it, and now Sprague is working on Hensley, trying to get him loose.
Trying to get that position, and Hensley lets him go. Now then, Butch Miller says, let me in there, but Jimmy wants to close that spot as quick as he can.
Chevy, a Dodge, and a Ford at war. Sedgwick has trouble. He has pulled Darrell Waltrop's truck down onto the pit road. And I'll update the progress of Mike Skinner. He hasn't made a lot. He's 11th. He chases Curtis Markham. I recognize that guy. He'll race here tomorrow. We'll be right back. Back at Martinsville, the leader in a ton of traffic. It is number 48. He's been at the top of the heat all the way. Bobby Hamilton coming here for his very first truck race. It's an interesting truck. It's a Chevrolet with the STP logo, but your dad's not involved in that, right, Kyle? Or at least not as the truck owner.
Not as the truck owner. Chuck Spicer, who pretty much runs the racing division for STP, is the owner, and he's put a deal together with a lot of different STP drivers, with Andy Hillenberg. I guess Jimmy Bass's
really going to drive it.
They're going to drive it, and and obviously it's a great truck. You know what I mean? Hamilton jumped in the thing and set it on a pole one of his first runs out. So I think those guys, if they're sitting at home watching it on TV, they'll be pleased with what's happening here with Chuck's truck.
Skinner has put the 10 truck away, and that means that Curtis Markham will fall to 11th spot, and Skinner, for the first time today, will crack the top 10, and really top 10s, and in fact top 5s are what this guy's been all about through his entire truck racing career. He has 13 top 5 finishes this year, so today has not been a typical Skinner day. We mentioned that Bill Sedgwick had pulled off the race course. Perhaps Marty could give us more on why.
Unfortunately, Bill is climbing out of the truck already. He's truly disappointed, walking around to check things, but I can show you exactly what happened. They don't make them this way from the factory. This is the water pump belt. It came off. He couldn't get it in here before the motor came up the ghost.
So it's been a tough day for the Waltrip entourage. Darrell with the penalty at the start of the race sent him to the back. Whoa! That's Renfro zipping up onto the rear deck of Mike Bliss.
He had a good run.
Right on out of Martinsville.
He had a good run, or his brakes didn't work. Now he's going to try it on the outside. Kyle, he's just not afraid to drive out there, is he?
He's not, and he's run these guys down from about 3/4 of a straightaway behind, doing it on the outside. I mean, he's not even offered to go to the bottom of the racetrack. And, I mean, he's run these guys in traffic, and if he can catch them bunching up a little bit, he'll get around this pack also.
Randy Renfro has been a class act here today. He's 32nd in the point standings, but you never know it from the way he's been driving Martinsville.
And Skinner's closed up as well. So Renfro and Skinner both faster than this group of cars right now, but can they get by?
Now remember, the Bliss truck is the one that there was some speculation might be overheating, so we'll keep an eye on that. He seems to be running plenty strong.
You can see Renfro every now and then motion with his right arm. See his arm up in there? I don't know what he's motioning. He's motioning like he's motioning Skinner to go outside.
Go high. Go high. He's coming.
Must be a spin right there. Yes, there is.
Big trouble down turn 3 and 4.
And
Walker Evans may be facing the wrong direction. And that will bring out the caution
flag, guys. Get ready. It won't be a penalty. Get ready. Get the signboard out.
Got a flat tire.
5 people. Done. No gas. Pick up. Pick up. I'll pick up too.
Barry Dawson, yeah. Got a flat tire.
Son of a bitch.
Dodson communicating with his team and his driver, Mike Bliss. Flat tire. No penalty for a change when it goes flat. 5 guys over the wall.
Okay,
you see
come
the
on.
damage
Watch
there
your pit road speed.
on the left rear.
35 miles per
Leave an
hour.
over pit wall for the inspector to look at her at the penalty. Pick up, pick up, pick up. Keep it out, keep it out. Oh. Dinner, Bobka.
Here's the tire change. A little more lift on that jack, boys.
This tire has air in it, so he has to go up higher. Marty Reed.
It's my pack.
And Marty. There it goes away.
There went your interview, Marty. It's the 2 truck.
I think that the 2 truck had the flat tire. I think they got together when they bunched up here in Skinner. If you see the right front of Skinner's truck, he's got into the left rear of the Bliss truck, and I think it just knocked the tire off the rim.
Yeah, maybe we could get a better view here as we go on board Norwich.
This is Walker Evans.
That's Walker's there. Yeah. We ought to see something from this.
That's Sprague going on the outside.
And Walker kind of bounced up into him and touched him with the right front.
What happened? Walker Evans went down and hit the curb with the left front tire, didn't he?
Yeah, and he just stood on the brakes to keep from running over Sprague. Yeah. Because once he got on the curb and bounced up, he just jumps on the brakes right there, and it jumps out from under him. You know, he spins, but he did a really good job of not wrecking Sprague in the deal, because he is lap traffic.
A good view of it out the back of Refner's truck. We'll take a commercial break and come back with more. It's the Haynes 250 coming to you from Martinsville, Virginia. Hamilton has led it from the get-go. We're back. The green has just come out. Does Ron Hornaday have another restart effort here for Hamilton? I don't think so. Looks like Bobby's got him covered. Bobby's taken to this truck thing pretty quickly.
I think Bobby's just taking the lead race.
Man, you're getting a little loose off the corner, aren't you, Kyle?
Just a little bit, but that's, you know, after a restart, your tires are a little bit cold. There's rubber buildup on the racetrack. You can see it where you can just put it down, and it's slick out there for the first 3 or 4 laps. And these guys don't have an opportunity to change tires like the Winston Cup guys do every time a caution comes out.
And look at Butch Miller. He's going to try the outside. Drives up on the outside, and he's there. Battle for third.
Jack Sprague on the bottom. That's supposed to be the preferred line. Meanwhile, the 07 has been in trouble here.
Well, no caution flag. He just, that was going to win 3 abreast.
Wide, look out. That's Barry Bodine at the wheel of that truck, not Jeff. Jeff's on the radio today acting as crew chief. And Miller did complete the pass. Butch Miller has gone to third in the number 98 and dropped Sprague to 4th. That is not good news for Jack. Needs to be going the other direction in terms of his position on the racetrack and also in terms of the championship standings. And the other guy in that shot is the 30 truck of the Jimmy Hensley, who started third.
But it's good for Butch Miller to put on his resume. And when you go job hunting, what you do last week? Well, I ran third last week, or I ran second, or was running third when I had a problem. Anyway, he's looking good in front of car owners today.
Butch started 6th, up to 3rd as he put Sprague away. Sprague, a 3-time winner this year, 1 in Phoenix, 1 in Nazareth, and then Milwaukee. Back-to-back victories there, but 29th at Richmond killed it.
And Walker Evans, we'll see, go down to the corner and watch as Barry Bodine gets touched, and he gets sideways. That's Dockett in the yellow car. Bodine goes through the grass, gets the car hit in the right direction. That's why there was not a caution flag. And Jimmy Hensley has a problem in the Mopar. The 30 Dodge off the pace. Truck's going by on the outside. There goes Renfro.
Skinner will go by too as Hensley starts heading for the back. Let's see, that would put him 9th right there, I believe, as Skinner will move up to 8th. Hensley has had more than his share of bad luck this year. Meanwhile, the march continues for Darrell Waltrip. Number 5 has moved to 14th spot, I believe, with that pass right there as he puts Corelli away. That'll move Darrell Waltrip into 14th position. That truck could very much be a factor. Here's the battle for second. How about Butch Miller?
He passes Frank on the outside. He's trying to pass the 16 of Hornaday on the inside.
And Hornaday left him plenty of room right there. Meanwhile, T.J. Clark has spun. There he sits, crossways, at the exit of turn 4.
Caution flag.
Caution did fly just as he cranked it up and got rolling again. So T.J. has brought out the, what is that, 5? Fifth caution of the day here as we follow the trucks to Martinsville, Virginia. 19th of 24 races on the tour. Of course, Saturday needs college football doubleheader. Tonight's second half of the doubleheader. Down to the Southeast Conference, the LSU Tigers versus Auburn, 21st and 13th ranked respectively. And yours tonight on ESPN at 7:30 Eastern Time, 4:30 over on the other coast. ESPN College Football doubleheader. What happened to T.J. Clark? Let's take another look and see if we can see as we go to our 5th caution of the day. There's T.J. right in front of Mike Bliss.
Turn 3. He goes up the hill. Bliss starts under him, and just a little contact from Bliss, and around he goes.
No real harm done other than to his track position. He didn't hit anything, but he did put the race back under caution with a little bit of help from his friend. We'll take a break and come back. We're back at Martinsville, preparing to return to green here. Tomorrow, Sunday morning, the buffet includes qualifying for the GP of Portugal at 7:30 a.m., followed by the race live at 8:30 in the morning, your Sunday buffet. And then, of course, we'll bring you the re-air for brunch of NASCAR qualifying here at Martinsville. RPM today goes at 11:30 Eastern Time on ESPN2. NASCAR today on ESPN2, the pre-race show for the Cup race. And, of course, the big affair would be RPM tonight for dinner at 8 o'clock, followed by the encore performance of the Haynes 500. How's that for a day of motorsports, ladies and gentlemen? And how's this for the action as we get back to the restart? I'm racing through a snowstorm down there.
Lots of oil drying. Mike Bliss is spun down in turn 3 and 4, but he gets the truck righted. He's off and running. Then he spins again.
Ooh, bad play.
Finally got her down out of the way just as the leaders came storming by.
And the caution flag is out. Wow, he said, let me out of here. You see that guy?
I didn't want to be in the 2 truck or the 48 truck in that situation right there.
Who's in bigger trouble at this
moment? Oh,
man.
That looked like me playing a video game right there.
Bliss has had a tough day today. They have bent the
I went
left
high
rear.
and started passing everybody.
I believe that was him explaining to his crew chief how he got that way. Here's what the videotape shows. That's him up on the outside.
Yeah, he went high and started passing people and got in that loose stuff, didn't he, Kyle?
Yeah, it just looks like it just jumped out from under him. There's stay dry all over this racetrack. And this, like I said before, when this thing's cold, your tires don't hook up, and they don't hook up in the stay dry either.
There's the on-truck view of it. Goes up alongside George. Zip, and gone. And that's when the fun started, because he tried to restart and get back around in front of him, spun it again right in front of the leaders. We'll take a break and come back with more. Bobby Hamilton, the leader from the get-go. Preparing to go back to green, and you got to believe that there will be fireworks eventually on one of these restarts, because Hornaday is the master at getting the good jump, and he's getting real tired of watching Bobby Hamilton lead the race. Here they come. Green is in the air. Goes inside.
But Hamilton, once again, as they run on the outside, maintains that lead.
Kyle just shakes his head and says, man, that's a strong truck.
It's strong up off the corner. I'm going to tell you, and it's driving good, too. You know, and Bobby's driving a great race with it right now. Not to have ever driven one of these things. You talk to these guys that drive these trucks, the Winston Cup guys really enjoy driving them because they can stand back in the gas. They don't worry too much about them spinning the tires because they are the 9-to-1 compression motors and stuff. But Bobby, he's come to Martinsville this weekend, and he's hooked up in the Winston Cup stuff and in the truck.
Let's get an update on a couple of guys that aren't doing so well. Marty?
Well, guys, Jimmy Hensley's backing up to talk to the crew, and they're saying he's reporting that the truck has tightened up quite a bit, and that's why he's slowing down. Also, Harry Gantz are reporting that he's got an overheating problem, and they may have an oil leak there. Maybe that's some extra additional slippery stuff out there on the track. We'll keep an eye on it.
Kyle, Harry told you that he found truck racing perhaps a little more demanding than he expected?
Yeah, I think Harry thought that he was going to come over here and just have a good time and enjoy his retirement a little bit. And he said, you know, that was when they had 25 or 30 trucks showing up. Now they got 44 and 57 or whatever they're going to have at Wilkesboro stuff. He's got to race a little bit harder than what I think he wants to race sometimes.
Well, Harry's been performing pretty well out there. Look at this side-by-side action up front there as Jeff Burton is being challenged up the inside by Keselowski of the Dodge.
Still out there. Still out there.
They're telling Walker Evans that Darrell Waltrip's on his rear bumper.
6 is on your outside quarter, boss. 6 is on your outside quarter.
There's the 6 he's talking about. Rick Pirelli. Remax Chevrolet.
7's going outside. 7's going outside.
They are going by. They're keeping an eye on old
33's going
Darrell.
with him. 33's going outside with him.
13th. Here's for second spot. Miller to the inside. Takes the position from Hornaday.
How about that, Butch?
We didn't give him enough credit, did we?
No,
We've
we
been sitting here waiting for Hornaday to go around the lead, and old Butch said, I got to show those guys who's boss here.
You know, right before the last caution come out, Butch had got him and got right up under him, and the caution came out, and Butch backed off and let him have second back. But Butch's truck, as we've seen before, has worked on the outside and it's worked on the inside both.
Well, there's a gaggle as Harry Gant goes by Keselowski. Dave Resendez in the 7th. And Brian Refner in the 44 just jumps out in front of Nemechek.
Boy, Refner struggled here. We're on board with him now. He is currently running in 19th spot, and he qualified 26th, so at least he's going the right direction. But that is not characteristic of what we've seen from Brian Refner this season. 137 laps to go. Remember, at lap 126, they will take the halftime break. This is for third. Sprague's on the inside. Hornaday may be having a problem here. Let's get him. Meanwhile, just in front of them, Miller has serious designs on the lead. Here we go.
He's working on Hamilton. Here he dives to the inside.
When you say dive, Benny, you watch closely, you can see that truck dive just a little bit when they jump on the brake. Now, watch for it in turn 1.
And there's Sprague on the inside of Hornaday. There's Racing Everett's position. And the 98 of Miller is there, right there, and going in turn 3 for the lead.
Butch Miller has led only 2 laps this year. He's about to make it 3, maybe.
No, you see that?
Didn't lead that one, but it was as close as you can get. Side by side for the lead in the Haynes 250. You got to feel like Butch is going to wear him down, but that 48 STP Chevy's been tough up there all day.
Just when Butch thinks he's got him, and just when Butch knows he's got him, Bobby stands in the gas and drives right back up the side of him even.
I think Butch Miller led that lap. I'll give him that lap.
Man,
We're going to give it to him just for effort anyhow.
But Hamilton, once again, continues to run so folks. I mean, it's hard to do. He's making it look easy, but trust me, it's hard to do.
Only one race this year has been won from the pole. That was at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Hamilton's efforts to make it 2 here today have run into difficulty in the form of Butch Miller, who finally, with a last love tap, gets clear, and they single file it into 3. That's a good race.
It's a great race.
Great
It's
race.
not over yet.
Yeah, that was a great race by 2 really good short track racers right there. They didn't lean on each other. They both gave each other plenty of room, and they made a good, clean pass, and the fans enjoyed it.
I thought that was the most fun part of it, was that they ran 6 laps, never touched each other. And right at the end, there was a little, just to let him know he could have. Let's go to Marty.
Hey, I got an update for you on Ron Horner. They talked to Doug Williams. He says Ron says the truck is loose, and that's why he's falling back.
Well, that'll do it to you in a hurry at this joint. A loose truck is something he can fix, though. that's what's unique about this form of racing. The halftime break. 10 minutes long. They'll have plenty of time to tighten up the number 16. Darrell Waltrip cracks the top 10 as he puts a pass on the number 30 of Jimmy Hensley. What a drive.
Well, I don't have a stopwatch to see how he's running as compared to the leaders, but I got a sneaky feeling if Darrell gets up there with him, he can race with him.
He'll be racing with him if he gets up there. Imagine where he would be if he'd have started where he was supposed to start. That's, it may have handicapped him a little bit, but I don't think you can handicap Darrell at Martinsville.
And Skinner on the inside of Rich Bickle.
If you've just joined us, the reference there is to the fact that Darrell started from the outside, qualified on the outside pole. As Bickle loses that spot to Skinner, Darrell flunked final tech, illegal fuel, had to go to the back. He'll pay a fine, started last, but he's inside the top 10, and give him another spot as he puts Ruttman away. Ruttman's not done badly today. He came from 25th starting spot. He got a lot of that in a hurry, and now he's been in a good race with Skinner earlier, and now he's racing with Darrell.
I tell you what, I sit at home and watch a lot of these truck races on TV, and if they gave points for the most trucks passed in a race, Ruttman would be leading the points because he starts the furthest back and gets to the front quicker than anybody I know of.
He's one of the really fun guys in this series to talk with. He's so modest, and he's got this little dry wit about his own efforts. You know, he'll tease you about how he's way too old to be out there, way too slow. It's fun to watch him race, and it's fun to talk to him about the race.
And Jack Sprague continues his great run. This is a battle for second spot. Butch Miller's pulled away from Hamilton by 10 truck lengths, and now Sprague trying to get the second spot halfway. Not too far away. One more lap, and Sprague's there.
Sprague watched Miller work Hamilton over and decides I'll go up and get a piece of that action. And Bobby Hamilton, who dominated the early stages of this race, is now in a heck of a scramble for second.
And that is the second spot. The break, the halfway break, I should say.
126 laps in. The caution is out, and it will be for the 10-minute halftime break. An opportunity for Hornaday to get his truck tightened up a little bit. A missed opportunity there for Sprague, who took a shot at second place on the caution lap. Couldn't quite pull it off. And there were scrambles all the way back through the field for positions on the first of two last laps of the day. Watch Michael Dokken under attack from Corelli as they came to the flag.
They come down, and Corelli just knocks him over the line.
That's for 14th and 15th. We've said it so often it's a cliche. They'll race you just as hard for 14th as they will for the lead. All right, time for these crews to go to work. We're going to take the halftime break at the Haynes 250. Hello, Rusty Wallace. How many of that boy wanted this joint? We're back at Martinsville, where Butch Miller leads the race at halfway. 11 of 18 races this year have been won by the halfway leader. It's time for Marty to go to work. Get him, bud.
All right, we're down here with Ron Hornaday. I got a feeling you're really happy that this mid-break came up when it did, when the truck went loose on you with about 7 laps to go.
Well, it wasn't too bad. I just started racing too hard, you know. I got to go for the championship, and I wasn't thinking, but the second half will be all right. I just started thinking championship here.
All right, what are you going to do differently, though? I mean, you had a great run there until about the last 7 laps when you started backing up.
Well, I don't know. With Dale's over here, so we might just make some air pressure changes, but we're talking about changes in rear shocks. We'll see.
All right, we'll keep an eye on it. And I'll tell you what, let's see if we can step over the jack without tripping anybody, including myself, and we're going to go for Butch Miller. And, in fact, Butch is going to be talking to the radio guys. Maybe what I'll do is I'll send it back up to you, and then we'll get back to Butch and then move over to the front side.
Tell you what, Miller's got a doggone good truck. He managed to march from 6th to 1st pretty systematically, and his race with Hamilton was an impressive one indeed. Bobby stayed out there just cruising around, following the pace truck around. Let's get back to Marty.
Yeah, we got Butch now. I'll tell you what, nice move to the front.
Well, we're really pleased with this Ray Bestis Ford Credit Ford. You know, the darn thing is, it takes about 5, 10, 15 laps to get it going, but once it gets going, it's as good as anybody. And we just need long greens in the second half.
I see guys underneath the rear end. You got any problems? You're just making some adjustments?
I think they're just checking it out. I smelled a little oil leak when I was behind a blue truck, and as soon as I got in front of him, it was okay again, so we don't think anything's wrong with ours.
All right, so that's another thing for us to keep tabs on. Guys, take it away. I'm going to run over to the front stretch.
Long greens may be a tough thing to get in the second half of this race. Take a look at the field summary. Miller leading it at halfway after Hamilton dominated it early. Sprague marching from 10th to 3rd. And Hornaday from 7th to 4th had actually gone as far as 2nd. Waltrip, very impressive. He did not start 2nd. He qualified 2nd. He started 36th and is now 9th. And I think he's going to be a story in the second half here, guys. What do you think?
Yes, I'll have to agree with that. Joe Ruttman, good run. Started 25th. He's up to 10th spot. Markham, there we see 16 through 30. Harry Gant started 15th, is now 16th.
Bliss has had a terrible time. He's had everything imaginable go wrong today.
He's a lap down.
Newman has spun a couple of times and is 2 laps down. Norick has been in more than one incident. Breback and Clark many laps down. Sedgwick, Grubb, and Denton out of the race. We'll take a break and continue with the halftime coverage here from Martinsville, Virginia. Roll for the remaining 124 laps. That will decide the outcome here today. Butch Miller leading it at the midpoint. Only led 10 laps, but when it mattered, right before the yellow came for the mandatory mid-race caution, one lead change when Miller passed Bobby Hamilton, who dominated the early running. We had 6 cautions for 31 laps, holding the average speed down below 65 miles an hour. Let's go to Marty and figure out who did what over on this side of the racetrack on the pit road.
Yeah, they'll update you on everybody that we have been able to talk to. First off, Butch Miller, he is checking the rear end. They said they smelled some fluid, maybe might be a little hot. So far, no major problem there. Bobby Hamilton, all they did was tighten the rear bar. As far as Jack Sprague, they added a little brake fluid. Then, as far as Darrell Waltrip, they added tires. Look out, he may be the best one on the field right now. Mike Skinner, they did some adjustments with air pressure in the tires. And then Ron Hornaday, they did a little bit of tightening on the old chassis and also changed air pressure. One quick note, I got to show you. This is the normal standard toolbox here in pit lane. I got to show you what Bobby Hamilton's team used. Remember, this is their first race. They put this together. This is the toolbox. At least it's got the right logo on the side because he is sponsored by STP. And guys in the crew said, hey, not bad for a bunch of rednecks, huh?
Kyle can tell you some stories about Chuck Spicer, the owner, on that truck. And, but we won't get into that right now because what we're going to tell you about instead is NASCAR Online. You probably know about this if you're a PC kind of a person. www.nascar.com gets you on the internet with NASCAR. They got a lot of new stuff. They're constantly adding material. The latest updated regional standings for the Winston Racing Series, the weekly short tracks, 100 tracks across the country, and you can follow them all with NASCAR Online. We'll be right back. Ahead of Bobby Hamilton, and here we go.
But Mike Bliss in the 32 of Mendenhall jumped the restart and jumped the lead of the race. And I would imagine a NASCAR will fly right.
He just didn't go.
That was his spotter, Barry Dodson, telling him that he did exactly the right thing. The leader just didn't go. Oh, now we're hearing a report from Miller's people that he may be stuck in gear or missed a shift. I'm not sure which. I think he missed a shift probably. It would seem logical, Ben.
It does seem logical.
Normally, they would black flag those guys for jumping to start like that. If Butch is radioed in and said he's having trouble, then those guys are free. They can go on and run.
He missed a shift, and therefore it was
Real tight right now.
great start. He just didn't do it real well. That result is 3 lap trucks in front of the leader, Miller, and about 3 feet between Miller and here's Pursuer. Further back in the field, here's the battle on Skinner and Hornaday.
And Skinner took the spot away from Rich Bickle. Just took it away. He's trying to take it away from Hornaday right now. He's on the inside of it.
Still there.
Has to come off turn 4.
Top 2 of the point, side by side. Skinner down to the inside, pulls a little bit in front of Hornaday. Ron will fight him for that position, I guarantee you. But the fight is for naught. Skinner goes on.
That's for 4th spot. So right now we've got the points leaders running, and we see Hamilton trying his best on the outside of the 98. We know how well he can run out on the outside, Kyle.
Yeah, we've seen him do that all day long and pull away from people. Now it's a little bit different. He's trying to pass somebody now, and he's got to look for the inside or outside, whichever way he can. Bobby hasn't been in this position all day long, so this is something new to him.
And Mike Skinner just drove by the 24 truck of Sprague to take over 3rd spot. The Goodrich truck on the move.
And that air pressure change on the number 3 obviously was beneficial. He was kind of a non-factor for the first half of the race, but now suddenly a late race push to the front, and then 2 quick passes after the green. And Mike Skinner, the reigning series champion, is very formidable at this moment. He is 3rd. There are your 3 lead trucks as they chase the lap of number 92 of Charlie Cragen.
And there we see Rich Bickle driving on the outside. There's 41 Renfro once again trying to go on the outside. It might cost him a spot this time as Nathan Bucky, the 75, comes up on the inside.
And Darrell right behind him. Darrell Waltrip is ninth in number 5. Back as they go down into turn 1. Butke on the bottom there. Renfro continuing to work the top. Look out. Renfro a little loose with a nudge from Butke. Gathers it back up. Waltrip looks down to the inside on both of them. Top the back of Bickle's Dodge. He sits in 6th spot, watching 7th, 8th, and 9th in pursuit.
And Skinner's on the inside of Hamilton to take over 2nd spot.
That bunch will come at you all day long. It is typical of the Black 3 over on the Winston Cup side. The Richard Childress organization just dig and dig and dig.
And right in front of the leader, those slower trucks of Cragen and Mendenhall made some contact. Almost spun in front of Bushmiller. There we see Skinner started 16th, is now in 2nd spot.
Butch Miller feeling the heat. Lap trucks in front, Skinner coming from behind. Miller has been in every truck race they've run since this series was born a year and a half ago. He's won once. That was in Colorado in July of '95. That was the closest truck race ever won. It was a photo finish, and who do you reckon he beat? Black 3, Mike Skinner. Interval kind of settling in here for the moment. Mendenhall and Cragen continue to create the suspense as they beat and bump on each other just in front of the leaders. Miller looks them over. They're just fast enough that there's no way to get around.
Once again, Renfro and Nathan Butke battle for position. Nathan Butke has impressed me from the moment he jumped in that truck. That kid really is a racer. And he's not very old. What is he, 20, 21 years old?
I'm not even sure he's that old. He looks like he's about 12.
You don't imply that.
No, he's okay. He's okay. I tell you what, and he has. We said it before. He jumped in that truck and took it straight to the front and had never looked back. So, you know, he's found himself a home here. Like I said, he'd run some Busch cars and some other stuff. He seems to have found himself a home in the truck series.
Darrell Waltrip on the inside of Renfro trying to take the spot away. Down in turn 1.
Darrell is definitely headed the right direction. That's a tight fit. He slides up alongside Renfro, who's run the top with great success today. In danger now of losing a position on the bottom as Waltrip works on him.
And Joe Rutten back there watching it all.
Got one of those trucks out of the way up front. Steve Mendenhall has finally looped it off turn 2. The former motorcycle racer and past three-wheeler world champion facing the wrong direction, also involved in that, or perhaps getting caught up in the aftermath, is Curtis Markham. That'll bring the yellow. Butch Miller's hoped for a long run of green. Did not happen, but one of those lappers in front of him was at least temporarily out of the way. It is the 8th caution of the day.
Just a moment ago, a few laps ago, he sits alongside on board Brian Ressler. As he comes off the corner, we see Lance Norrick make contact with Walker Evans, and this is from Lance Norrick's truck. Watch this as he comes off turn 4. Wow. Wasn't a lot of room there. And there we see Mendenhall with 32 spin. And something happened to Bobby Hamilton in this situation. I don't know exactly what the deal is, but he lost about 8 spots.
He's off the racetrack. He's on pit road. Hamilton apparently has trouble with the pole sitting and early front-running truck. We'll find out what that's all about when we come back to Martinsville. Watch out. Virginia was a good run while it lasted, but Bobby Hamilton is out of the race. Let's go to Marty.
Well, we're down there. We've caught up with him. Bobby, what put you out?
Tire steering belt come off, and we didn't even carry any wrenches to the pit. We carried something to just pan our bar with, and we said if anything happened, we just parked it because these guys are running for points. Had a good run. You know, I was really pleased with the way the truck went. You know, the SVT and Ferguson and all. This is their first time with it. Led a lot of laps, got a pole for them, so we'll see if it hurt anything and see if we can go to Wilkesboro with it.
Rate the competition for me compared to your Winston Cup ride.
It's just great racing, but it's tougher where I'm at. But I love this kind of racing right here.
Bobby Hamilton still got a smile on his face.
And we get back to that racing as they drop the green to start lap 148.
And there's Skinner driving up on the outside of Butch Miller. Folks, this is for the lead. And Skinner made it look so easy.
I tell you what, that was a piece of cake, wasn't it? That has become a mighty good truck. Familiar scene for the 15th time this year. Mike Skinner leads in NASCAR Craftsman truck racing competition. We mentioned his 13 top fives. He's also got 6 wins, tops in that category. The point leader, meanwhile, number 16, Ron Hornaday, has his hands full as Bickle attacks on the outside.
And he come off the corner. Bickle is still there.
Gained on it despite that little bit of contact. But Bickle may go on by here. But he's pushing Hornaday as hard as he can. Come on, man, let's go. Uh-oh, trouble.
Walker Evans has spun out. Also, the Newman vehicle truck has spun once more.
That's his fourth, isn't it?
And still no caution flag. They're going to have to go.
There it comes. Yellow is out. And now we got trouble up the other end of the racetrack. Mendenhall has plowed into the side of Wayne Grubb up in turn 1 and 2. So we've got spun and stopped trucks all over the Martinsville half mile. Not an unusual situation. When things happen at this joint, they can happen in a hurry.
And there's pretty good damage to the right front of Mendenhall's truck sitting down in turn 1.
Now let's, our tape people have been busy at work here, sorting out the various replays.
There's the 6 of Corelli. There's Walker Evans. And now the 90 of Norrick goes down, makes some contact. Around goes Walker Evans. And there's the 71 of Newman getting on the grass, and that does not adhere very well, so he spins.
This will be from Walker's viewpoint of the same. I'm going to be interested to watch all the folks go by here. Hello. Nobody got into him. He slid down out of harm's way. Walker Evans rejoins the fray. Meanwhile, at the other end of the track, Mendenhall and Grubbs in their 3rd and 2nd truck starts, respectively, have also spun. We'll take a break while they clean it up. Tomorrow, in the 500 laps of action that make up the Haynes 500, you'll see it live on ESPN, beginning with the pre-race show. NASCAR today at noon Eastern time. The race itself starts at 12:40. Today, we have kidnapped Kyle and brought him up topside to work the truck races. They bring him down to green. Skinner the leader.
That's Wayne Grubb, the truck on the inside that Butch Miller's overtaking, trying to get by. He lost a lap when he was involved in that spin with Mendenhall down in turns 1 and 2.
Here's my question, Kyle. Is anybody going to touch Skinner, or is he going to check out on him here?
I tell you what, I don't know what adjustments that Will and those guys made over there with this children's truck during this halftime, but I mean, he's worked his way up through the pack. You know, he came from 16th up to 8th or 9th, but all of a sudden, the second half, he's been shot out of a cannon. If it maintains like this, he's going to be strong.
That was a better than average truck, but not a whole lot better than average for the first half of the race, but it's a great truck right now.
And I want to tell you something. Skinner has impressed me this year more so than last year, where he's the guy in the back seat now. He's playing catch-up. And he took that truck and he didn't drive over his head. He didn't do anything stupid. And he put it in a position so they could make adjustments at the halfway point so he could come out here and be competitive. And that's what it takes in this series, is to be patient the first half and then race the second half.
You could have caught me with this trivia question. Mike Skinner has driven 2 Winston Cup races here. When were they? 1986. Parsons, did you remember that?
No, I sure didn't.
Well, that's because he finished 32nd and 30th. I'm going to do a lot better than that today.
I'm going to have to admit that I remember it because that's funny right there coming out of turn 4. I ran in the back of him and caused the caution, so I do remember him running here at that period of time.
we were all fixing to remember you in a spring race here. You had a pretty good, speaking of tomorrow's activities, you had a pretty good truck here in the spring, didn't you? Or car here in the spring.
Pretty decent, pretty decent. We've had some brake trouble and messed that up a little bit, but we're okay today. I've been watching Hornaday. He started 7th, so I've been pulling for him because that's where I'm starting tomorrow. So I figured if he could come from 7th to win, maybe we could duplicate it tomorrow.
Kyle Petty, who finished 2nd at Martinsville in the April race back in 1991. Best finish, of course, will be tomorrow.
Hopefully.
Mentioned Hornaday. He sits there in 5th spot. A bit of gap back to Bickle, about 3 truck lengths. And Bickle just sitting there looking at the tail end of Jack Sprague, figuring out how am I going to get this Dodge to the front. 2 Chevys and a Ford make up the sandwich in front. Skinner the leader. Butch Miller's been strong today, and there's Jack Sprague as seen from Bickle's on board.
Butch Miller said, I think in his interview with Marty Reed, that he needs long green runs.
You know, we saw Butch the first part of the race, and he was there, and he raced along pretty good, but he really came on the last, 25 or 30 laps is where Butch Miller really seemed to shine. And if he's maintaining here and can just maintain, and if he's in the same position that he was, then we'll be talking about Butch Miller in the last 20 or 25 laps of this race again pretty heavy.
Look out the front of Bickle's truck to find Sprague. Out the back of Bickle's truck, you would find Hornaday, and that is significant in terms of the championship. Hornaday, who had gone up and challenged for the lead at one point. Notice how the director listens and says, oh, there, let's show him. Hornaday is 5th and has not done much here in the second half. He's just been kind of parked there.
Hornaday, when they interviewed Hornaday at halftime, he said, he got a little over his head. He was racing too aggressive. That he's got to think championship, you know what I mean? And he's driving like he was. When he was up there a minute ago and they got pretty hot and heavy, he let him go around him on the outside a little bit, fell in line about 5th or 6th, and that's where he's running.
Marty.
Hey, a perfect point by Kyle. They did the mathematics, and all Ron Hornaday has to do to win this championship is average a 5th place finish.
Trouble for Walker Evans, who's in the wall again, up at turn 3 and 4.
Coming. Yellow's out. Leaders are coming.
And that will bring the yellow out. That is not what Miller needs. He's looking for long runs of green. It won't happen this time.
Hold on, Walker.
Let's see if we can see what happened to Walker Evans.
Make contact with anything? Yes.
He goes down Keselowski. A little bit of contact with the left rear, and Walker looks like this time he's going to hit pretty doggone hard with the rear and the front tires.
Walker's son Evan recently won the Minnesota Off-Road Championship. Remarkable in that he is a wheelchair pilot. Operates the truck with hand control, so congratulations to Evan Evans. Dad's done for the day. We'll take a break during this yellow and come back with more. Back at Martinsville, Mike Skinner leading and looking for his 7th win of the year. The yellow is for Walker Evans. Let's look and listen to what he went through to bring out the yellow.
There you go. You're clear, boss.
Touch from Keselowski.
Hold the brakes.
Don't roll down the hill and get hit.
That's exactly right.
Now we're with Mike Bliss. He's just gotten back on the lead lap. And he's in traffic.
There you go. Make your way through it. Yellow.
Great job. Made it through. Didn't hit anything.
Hello. Yellow. Go.
Spinning every place. Meanwhile, back green flag.
Busy on that lead lap. Here, we're back underway with Miller setting out in pursuit of Mike Skinner. Skinner gets the great jump, and he's out by 3 truck lengths. Hornaday finds his path temporarily blocked as he wanted to go to the bottom there, but Wayne Grubb was there, having just spun a moment ago. Hornaday sitting there in 5th spot.
There's the 4th place truck. Rich Bickle, that's the Cummins Dodge.
Just in front of them is Jack Sprague, the 3rd man involved in this championship battle. As Hornaday looks down on the inside, there is Sprague in the green and white 24 directly in front of him.
Bickle looked on the outside. Wow.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Hornaday, I couldn't believe Bickle opened up the lane to the inside to let Hornaday there, but when you pan back from it, then you see what he's doing. He's going around Sprague on the outside of it.
And Randy Renfro just moved into the 6th spot, got by Nathan Butke. There he is at 41 truck. He has been impressive today.
Bickle looking to pass him on the outside, or is Bickle having trouble making it stick to the bottom?
I think Bickle's truck will stick to the bottom. I think every now and then he just gets a really, really good solid run up off the corner and down the backstretch, and he just barrels off in there on the outside of him trying to make something happen. Because if you can get somebody to check up and not come all the way back out next to the wall, it slows down their momentum down the straightaway, and you might get a shot at them.
The grandstand view of the battle of which we speak. Sprague under attack from Bickle, and Hornaday for the moment dropping back a couple of truck lengths to watch it. Wondering about Darrell Waltrip's progress. He hasn't made any. He's sitting in 9th spot. He's made a lot over the course of the day, but he hasn't made any since we last checked in.
There we see the first 4 trucks. We're riding along with the 4th truck of Bickle. There he is, the 43 Cummins truck. The 16, the Napa truck, is Hornaday in 5th spot.
With that big new grandstand that they built out at the end of this racetrack, turn 3 and 4. It'll be full tomorrow for the Haynes 500 for the Cup cars. We talked about Hornaday's season to date and some of the things that have made him such a formidable player in the championship battle, perhaps most formidable of all. Listen to these statistics. 15 top 5 finishes in 18 starts, and in his other 3 races, 6th, 7th, and 8th. He's been no worse than 8th all year. Wow. That is remarkable consistency.
That is.
In a series when they beat on each other the way we've seen them do it here today, that is an accomplishment. And the net result is a 152-point lead. And now, of course, he has the luxury of being maybe a little conservative. He doesn't have to get in there and beat on people. Brian Reffner leads the Cintas Rookie of the Year point standings. The right front fender is a bit adrift as he does battle here with Charlie Cragen. Now, this is for the last 2 spots on the lead lap, 20th and 21st. Cragen out of Hopewell, Pennsylvania. Got his racing teeth up at Jennerstown Speedway and some of those great Pennsylvania tracks. 3-time Winston Racing Series champ. We got trouble at the exit of turn 4, and it involves Butke and Corelli. Both end up facing the wrong direction.
Looks like some pretty good contact there. We see some pretty heavy damage to the left front of Butke's truck. Wow. The left rear is flat as well. He'll not be able to get that truck back.
11th caution of the day for a couple of the key players here.
See if we can see what happened. The 75, something happened to Butke's truck. He's trying to get to the pits. He comes down and drives right in front of Corelli.
Wow. I'm not sure what happened there because it looks like he's high out of the groove, like he got up out of the groove. And I'm not sure whether he was trying to come down in the pits because he's on the brakes trying to do something all at the same time.
Check up, check up. Good job, good job.
Bliss managing to miss it all. Corelli, I'm sure, is very unhappy about that. Maybe we can get Butke's explanation for what he was trying to do there when we come back. The latest on what's happened here at Martinsville, the Nathan Butke, Rick Corelli crash. Let's go to Marty.
Well, guys, we're down here with Rick Corelli, and obviously you're disappointed. You weren't expecting somebody to take an instant left turn.
I don't know what happened up there. We were just buying our time, racing towards the end, and Nathan was up by the wall, and tell you the truth, I don't know if he was trying to come in the pits or what, but I mean, he got up against the fence, never stopped the truck, and just rolled on by. I mean, that's just part of Martinsville luck, I guess, for me. Last year we flew through the air, and this year we're just buying our time, trying to finish, and we hit it a load. So I think the Remax truck's done for this time, but tell everybody at home I'm okay, and see my kids tomorrow.
And you'll be ready for North Wilkesboro?
Oh yeah, we'll be ready. We got another truck and a trailer. We sort of wanted to run this one next week, but I don't think we're going to run this one for a while.
Okay, guys, Rick Corelli out of this one.
Corelli has been in every truck race they've run. There is his truck. He's won once at Bristol, 9th in points, but out of luck today after the crash with Butke. We'll be right back. After a fair bit of cleanup, and with the laps beginning to wind down, we go back to green at Martinsville. The Haynes 250 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series underway. They start lap 189. Skinner gets a jump again. Nobody in the top 5 making any kind of moves at this moment. Now to the outside goes Bickle, and Hornaday says, "I'll take that." Jumps right up on the inside of him.
Hornaday's going to try to take it away in the corner. A little bit of contact a couple of times.
I think Hornaday's kind of like Earnhardt, his owner. He says he's going to be conservative, but he'd rather be conservative in 4th place than he would be in 5th place.
And he moves the back end, gets loose coming off the corner. And folks, as we look at this camera, we see some, and Charlie Cragen has made some contact with someone. The right front tire is flat, and he's slowly getting around the racetrack. Turn left now, Charlie. That's it. That'll be it.
Get her out of the way, Charlie.
He's going to stop there. Looks like. It's still rolling. Meanwhile, we're under green. Still continue to be under green. There we see
Hornaday's under attack. You betcha. Right
Randy
there.
Renfro
takes him up the hill and seizes the spot.
Yeah, I think the 92 truck's putting down oil as he rolls down the front stretch.
And Renfro, yeah, he slipped up, and here he comes.
Hornaday's into the side of him. They're racing back. They do not race back to the yellow in this series. So, who's got that spot?
I would think Renfro
was ahead of him, yeah. We've had 9 retirements from the race. Cragen may be the 10th. He's put oil all over the racetrack. We'll stop for yet another caution. We're about to conclude the 12th caution of the day. 13 is the record this year for the series. We go green as Skinner tries to repeat the jump that he's gotten the last 2 times on Butch Miller, and it looks like he'll do just that. That's Keselowski on the lap truck getting up on the inside of Bickle, moving him up high. Then comes Randy Renfro in front of Hornaday in 5th and 6th. The outcome of that position swapping as the yellow came out. Renfro's had a good run here.
He has had a terrific run. That's the 41 truck we're talking about. Takes a look at Bickle on the inside. Meanwhile, Bickle's looking on the outside of the 24 truck. There he goes.
That's a long way around. Let's see if he can make it pay off. Truck's been good up on top.
See, the 43 truck doesn't have a grill anymore. He's made contact with someone, and he makes it work. He passes on the outside. Renfro's going to try to do the same thing.
This is painful for Sprague. He needs to be as far in front of Hornaday as possible, trying to keep his championship hopes alive. We finally caught up with Nathan Butke to get his version of what happened. Nathan had to go get checked out. Let's go to Marty for that.
Yeah, we've caught up with a disappointed Nathan Butke and Nathan Watt. Because, I mean, it looked like you were just going turn left.
Yeah, I went into 3 down there, and something broke in the steering. I think a U-joint or something broke. It was a shame. The motor was running hot all day. It was a little bit weak, and the thing was handling awesome. I just wish we could have got out there and finished the race, but we haven't had trouble finishing them lately.
Well, that would explain the sudden left turn. If you had a chance to talk to Rick Torelli?
No, I hadn't. I'm sorry that happened to him, you know. I thought that just one wheel broke. I thought I could be able to steer it coming off the corner. And when I started to come off, it just hung a left, and otherwise I'd have stopped it. That was kind of foolish of me to do that probably, but I thought I could have steered it, and it didn't work. I'm sorry that happened to him.
Nathan Butke, out of this one, guys.
Perhaps it'll make Torelli feel better that the kid didn't have any steering when he came down in front of him, but I doubt it.
Won't fix the truck, will it? Yeah. Tell you what, looks like Butch Miller having his problems right now getting going. Either that or Rich Bickle. By the way, back to Doug George, the 21 truck. Battle for 15th spot, John Nemechek and Mike Bliss.
Bliss managed to remain unlapped and is currently in 17th spot in the number 2. He's had a very eventful day. That's Refner, number 44 behind him, sitting in 18th. This is on board with Refner. And they're shuffling these positions quickly enough that the scoring monitor is not keeping up with him. Nemechek, I think, for the moment, is actually going to be in 17th.
And he's going to be brushed a little bit by that 44 truck.
You don't have to be up front to be excited.
No, it surely doesn't. Never see Wayne Grubb in the Ford truck, the link belt truck. That's closed up on the back of Nemechek.
Meanwhile, top left, you see the field summary. We'll keep on top of that as we follow the great action back here in the back. Waltrip has picked up a couple of spots to 7, having started 36.
And speaking of Darrell, he took a look at Hornaday down that straightaway. Darrell Waltrip might have as good a truck as anyone right now. Here he comes on the inside of Hornaday.
Darrell's had company as he made his charge. That 80 truck right behind him, Joe Ruttman, started 25th, currently sits in 8th. Behind him is Jeff Burton, started 19th, running 9th. Go to the front. That's the name of the race. Hornaday got something in his pocket here, Kyle, you think, or is he using every bit of what he's got?
I think Hornaday's racing. You know, I mean, I think he's using everything he can to stay in front. Darrell keeps pulling that Winston Cup stuff, and Winston Cup guys will pull out on you like that, and you'll give them the groove. These truck guys don't give you the groove. You know what I mean? They chop back across in front of you. But you can see Darrell pull out on you so he can't see him in the mirror and driving his blind spot, hoping that Hornaday will just go in a little bit wide or something. But he's not going to get it.
Work him hard now. Work him hard.
Got a pretty good look at the rear deck on Hornaday's truck. He's been worked on.
There's Bobby Gill in the 15 truck and Harry Gant, the 33.
12th and 13th spots.
And 14th there's Resendiz in the 7th, the QVC vehicle.
Resendiz won the series opener at Homestead, Florida. Crew chief in the Bodine organization, as well as the race car drivers, swapping back and forth in those roles during the history of the Truck Series.
Put on the bottom.
Now we jump on board with Bliss in 15.
Slow car on the bottom, he said. That's Lance Norris, the 90 truck.
Here.
Do spotters have to put $1 in the pool if they call them cars?
Yeah, but for every dollar they put in the pool, you got to put 20 for every time they save your rear end. So they come out ahead.
How do they help you most at a real tight little joint like this, Tom?
Exactly what they're saying. They're saying clear. You know what I mean? They're saying inside, outside. You know, you heard when Walker was being passed by so many. They keep telling you that there's more trucks there, that you can't pull over and get back in line. Because you got your hands busy here. You know, Vinny can tell you, you run here and you may run all day and never take a look at the gauges. You don't have a clue what the gauges in the cars say because you got your hands full driving the thing. So another set of eyes are critical at a place like this, almost more so than at a Talladega or a Daytona.
So those long straightaways are deceptive. You don't get the time to take a deep breath and think about it.
And a 16-second lap, a long straightaway is about 3.5 seconds. So yeah, you don't have much time.
And you got to use a little of that to get flowed, don't you?
Definitely.
Skinner up front, making a walkover out of the second half of this truck race. It is the Haynes 250. It's getting late in the race. Back at Martinsville, following a pretty good Ford race. Bob Revac gives a wave to Mike Bliss, says go up on the outside. Resendiz goes with him. They had run the entire commercial break side by side. And now we watch Renfro with Hornaday alongside. This is the race for 5th and 6th. Give the spot to Hornaday. Renfro now under attack from Waltrip.
Still there.
Waltrip had been working on Hornaday for a long time. Suddenly, Renfro's outside line cost him a couple of spots there.
Sure did. Renfro's done a great job all day. Looks like he might have just raced too hard and has used his tires up.
He's in danger of losing another spot to Ruttman. Boy, this is not what we saw from that truck in the first half. He is slipping and sliding and struggling for sure. I'll tell you what, this guy's done a heck of a job today. Consider that in his 4 previous appearances, he finished 27th, 21st, 28th, and 12th. Best was 12th at Richmond. Renfro and had one VNQ in there. Did not qualify for his 5 previous starts. So to run 7th at the moment, 5th for a long time today is pretty good. Gant working on Bliss.
Bliss working on Gant.
Take a pick.
And we see Bickle working on the 24 truck. That was for 3rd. Flip-flop, the 24 passed the 43. Okay, the Sprague just got by Bickle for 3rd spot. Not so much race going on. I can't keep up.
Well, Hornaday picked up a spot, so Sprague saw him in the mirror and figured he better gas it up, I guess. And now that Renfro has slipped back, Waltrip's pursuit of Hornaday is suddenly for 5th and 6th. Here's another look at it.
There he gets position. Takes it away. Bickle tries to come back. Can't quite make it. And Randy Renfro is losing position left and right now.
Boy, that's a shame because he's just done such a good job today.
I hate to say that because we want him to keep coming back. He's sponsored by the North Carolina Sweet Potato Association, and they brought me an awesome sweet potato pie with Martin at Bristol.
Bet they did. Marty.
Well, guys, to add to the Renfro story, just talked to the crew. He's calling in and saying, fellas, I have cooked the brakes. I can't slow this thing down.
You'll hear a lot of that tomorrow when they do 500 tours of this joint. Pick up that race for 12th again, but now we've got Mendenhall facing the wrong direction in turn 1 for the second time. He'll get it on the pavement, loop it around, and continue.
And the yellow is out.
It did come out, didn't it?
So now that ties your record.
13th caution of the day. Equaling the previous mark for 1996. Give us an opportunity to get the commercials done after 223 of 250 laps. We're back at Martinsville, where history will probably not recall what a great day Randy Renfro had here because he is going to be a retiree. Let's take a look out the back of Mike Bliss's truck. There's Renfro. Up against the outside wall and apparently effectively completely out of brakes. And so now we get back for the restart. He had run as high as, what, 3rd or 4th. Skinner jumps him again on the restart. That's been the pattern, 2 to 3 truck lengths every time they put that green back in the air. Now, on the previous green flag run, he went from that little interval to a 1 3/10 second lead. Let's get more on the Renfro story from Marty.
Yeah, we're right here with Randy. I guess you learned it's awfully hard to slow these things down with no brakes.
Well, I tell you, what I'm going to tell you, you won't believe it. I was sitting there just waiting. I had plenty of brakes left, plenty of truck left. I was riding behind Jack. I like to thank North Carolina Sweet Potato Association and the Go Tire Company and all the sponsors and all the help that helped out this thing. We're going to get it going, and when we go back to Wilkesboro, we'll run.
Randy Renfro, guys.
And while he was talking, you saw the action there, Pickle. How many spots did he lose, Benny? It was too fast for me to count.
I know what he's 1, 2, 3. He's contesting that 4th right now between he and Jeff Burton.
Got up on the outside, got bumped a couple of times, and they just kept freight training by. Sprague, Hornaday, Waltrip, Craftsman. And there you see all those guys disappearing as Bickle now tries to scramble and catch back up.
And Darrell Waltrip trying his best, and he gets it loose, and Rutgers kind of ricochets off of him. Wow, what a love tap that was, huh, Kyle?
I think Darrell just got in under the 16 truck, got loose on him. He worked up the racetrack, and as he tried to stand in the gas and come back down, Ruttman was charging through. Ruttman took the position. But Darrell going for 4th or 3rd ends up back about 5th or 6th.
I don't know anybody that's worked harder to end up exactly where they were than Darrell Waltrip in the last 30 laps of this race. Man. And that's part of the frustration of this joint. I mean, it takes you so long to accomplish anything and so little for it to all disappear.
Yeah, we saw Bickle.
Take it off. Go get him back.
Running 3rd or 4th. Bickle's there. That's Jeff Hammond talking to Darrell to go get him back. But Bickle, you know, he runs 3rd, 4th, right along there, makes one slip and drops back to 8th or 9th. So, it can be critical where you're at.
And right now, Joe Ruttman, the 80 truck, has a good truck.
Yeah, we mentioned how far he had come. He started 25th. This is 4th, 5th, and 6th. And Waltrip listens to instructions. Hammond says, go get him back, and here comes DW.
Trying his best to go on the outside there. We see Jeff Burton, the Excite batteries, trying to take a position away from Rich Bickle.
Another of those route stunts. Jeff says, I saw those last 6 guys do this to you. I ought to be able to too. Cockpit cam, see how close they run. Can't do it. Burton has to give way as they get to the corner. Lap's winding down. You see it's upper left. 12 to go. Can anybody catch Skinner? Oh, I don't think so. He has checked out. We talked a moment ago, Kyle, about a 1.3-second lead. It's hard to appreciate how much racetrack that is at a joint like this.
It's an eternity. When you're sitting back there and you're Butch Miller and you're watching them pull away from you 1 car length a lap, it's an eternity.
And that is exactly what Skinner's doing. Meanwhile, Bickle continues to scrap with Jeff Burton. This is the race for 7th and 8th. Bickle scratching his head and saying, I thought I was going to get 3rd. How did this happen?
Here's the field summary. Take a look. Just 6 or 7 laps to go.
Dawkins done a good job today. He hasn't been spectacular in that 18th truck, but he's inside the top 10. Kept his nose clean. Barry Bodine came from the back. He started back there with Barrow and is inside the top 20. Talked about Renfro's disappointment. Bucky out of the race. Lost the steering and took Corelli with him. Hamilton, your pole sitter, went out with a broken power steering belt while running second. And the newcomer, Kelly Denton, was the first truck out. And Skinner appears en route to doing what he's done so many times before, and that's running away when it matters.
Well, these guys, how many laps is this they've run side by side? 5 or 6?
I don't know, but they got to be getting tired of it by now. And this crowd behind them, it just comes into the screen every now and then. They're racing their rear ends off too, and that's Bliss, who's had probably the worst day of anybody here, trying to break into the top 10 and salvage something out of this day.
That would be something if he come a lap down.
There's Darrell on the inside of Ruttman. This is for 5th.
All clear.
Takes it away.
Go get that son of a gun. 6 laps to do it in.
That's probably a reference to the fact that Darrell chased that son of a gun for about 100 laps here today, trying to get to Hornaday before all the frustration that Darrell experienced. And this battle goes on.
Nothing has changed. One of them will wreck before this is over.
I hope not. That 43 truck's part of my inheritance. Yeah, that's right.
Speaking of that, how hard did your daddy hit that guy on that freeway in North Carolina?
I don't know nothing about none of that. I'm going to tell you that. Exactly. I tell you. This has been, you know, we talked earlier with Bobby Hamilton and those guys when they ran side by side, but this has been an incredible race because these guys are giving each other room to make a mistake. They're giving each other room to slip, and they just keep digging at it.
And that time, Burton did slip.
Yeah, big time.
And had room to save the truck. Neither one of them crashed. So that's what Kyle Petty was talking about.
Here you go.
All right, Waltrip wants Hornaday.
Oh,
He chased him, he battled him, he nicked him. Now we got trouble. Dokken has spun at turn 2.
Truck's in the middle of racetrack. Caution is out. Be clear when you get there.
We will break the record for cautions. 15. That's the Truck Series record. And Dokken, whom I had given credit for keeping his nose clean all day.
Well, it wasn't his fault. He made contact with another truck. He just didn't spin the truck out. I don't remember which truck it was now. They were racing so many trucks in position. He and Jimmy Hensley and Mike Bliss and Harry Gann all raced in position, and unfortunately Dokken was the truck that made it a 360.
So we've seen a lot of this today. Another yellow will set up a run to the finish in the Haynes 250 at Martinsville. Back at Martinsville, the Haynes 250 will be longer than that. We are at lap 252. We cannot finish under yellow. Here's why. We are under yellow as we go with Rich Bickle. Watch behind. Michael Dokken spinning after contact, and here's how it looked from Brian Ruffner's view, looking forward at it. Now, if you get outside, take a look at it from here. You can see how Hensley got into the side of Dokken, and Mike Bliss just squeaked by on the outside. So, we'll go with a green flag, and then a white flag a lap later, and then a checkered flag. It is, in fact, a two-lap race, and here we go.
Chris Morgan's going to have Lexol 454 with this nice over. Somebody's smoking up there. And here's Hornaday trying to get by on the outside. Ron, there's oil dry up there.
They put oil dry all over that corner, and it is slippery. And with a lap and a half to go, that's the battlefield on which they have to shoot it out. Bliss has slowed down the backstretch. Skinner is up and gone.
White flag for Mike Skinner. Here we go. Hornaday trying to get by Sprague.
A battle among championship contenders there. Hornaday would love to put Sprague down one more position. Skinner is going to gain the ground in terms of the championship here as they turn 3 and 4 for the final time. Skinner brings it home, his 7th victory of the season. Miller will hang on for second. Waltrip took one last shot at Hornaday and came up a little short. So in terms of the championship, all 3 of the contenders have run inside the top 4 positions. You will not see a dramatic change in the point standing as the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series leaves Martinsville. We'll be right back. We're back at Martinsville. The Haynes 250 is history, and this guy won it. Let's go to Marty.
Okay, we got a real happy Richard Childress with his driver. Let me ask you real quick, because we're running late on time. Was this the best team victory? Because you guys were really not in this in the beginning, but all of a sudden, second half, bingo.
Oh, Marty, I felt like we was in it ever since we rolled off the trailer the other day. We were one of the fastest trucks in practice. We just messed up qualifying, and Martinsville track position is very important. We're the second fast truck this morning, you know, us and Darrell in the last practice. So I never thought we were out of it. The only other time we qualified this bad, we qualified 16th at Phoenix, first race. We won that one. They wouldn't need to qualify 16th every week.
There's your winner. Take it, guys.
And we'll take a look at what that does to the points in a moment. First, find your favorite driver as we run down through the field. A lot of guys had to come from deep in the field. Darrell Waltrip, your outside pole sitter, went to the back, came back to finish 5th. Rutland also came from deep in the field. Benny?
Harry Gant was able to salvage the top 10. Bobby Gill.
Some of the guys that had great runs today are not reflected as you look at 16 through 30. Bobby Hamilton led 116 laps in his very first truck race and ended up out of the event with a power steering problem. And Randy Renfro had a great run today until his truck quit as well. And Benny, one effect of all this, of course, is just to tighten up that championship map because all the contenders were right there in the thick of it today.
Exactly. Right now, 132-point lead as Hornaday. Sprague 171 back, and we see 4th through 10th.
Skinner winning his 7th race, demonstrating that he is very serious about repeating as champion. NASCAR today